Ladies, if you are raising a son and his father's not around or you guys aren't together, he's not in the house, it is very important that you don't raise your son to be a prince to every woman in the world. Try to avoid raising your son to be the man that you wanted his daddy to be. What I mean by that is sometimes we can imprint on our sons, sometimes women can imprint on their sons this this standard of how a man should be, how a man should treat a woman. But the problem with that scenario is that young women, old women, women, mothers that I totally respect, is that you don't teach him how to be treated. You teach him that his job is to go out into this world and treat a woman like a princess, no matter what. But you didn't teach him that all women are princesses. Now, I'm not saying all women are doing this. I'm not knocking women that are single mothers and that are out here just trying to instill good values and character into their son, because that's important. Teaching your son not to be, misogynistic, not to be a womanizer, not to be, going out into the world trying to, prove themselves by, dominating women. That's, of course, you want to instill that in your son, but you also have to instill in him that he should be dominated as well. That he should not be in a position where he allows mistreatment, where he allows his value and his worth to be put under to appease hers. Because you can say that without saying that. You can teach him that without, consciously teaching him that. Because a lot of the pains and the woes that you experience through your relationships with men, whether it be your father, your brother, your ex-husband, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-fiance, whatever it may be, those can very strongly come out without you even thinking about it. So I advise you to really try to, analyze, be honest with yourself. It's not saying that you're a bad person. It's not saying that, the pain that you endured or that the treatment was not there, that you're ignoring it, and that you don't want your son to repeat that. It's not saying that, but it is saying you have to be careful, because it's not about your pain, it's about your son's well-being for the rest of his life. You want him to bring home a woman that treats him well and that respects him as a young man and that doesn't treat him like a doormat, because a lot of women are raising doormats. They're raising these young men out here that, these women are calling now simps and easy targets. You know what I'm saying? And I only say that because I'm a product of that. My mother's a great mother. I love her to death. I do. But there was no teaching of my self-worth as a young man. And as hard as it is for a woman to do, because I think it's almost nearly impossible to raise a young man without a father in his life in a way that he can pick up on the things that he needs to go out into this world and be a solid young man. There needs to be male role models, whether it's a brother, an uncle, or whether it be, the neighbor, whatever. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Just a man in this young man's life that you trust, that can instill in him certain qualities, certain characteristics that young men need. I didn't have that growing up. My mother was very busy trying to make ends meet, so she didn't have that time, and I understand that. Some women, y'all don't have that time. I get it. I wish it was the man, and here I am. I'm going to apologize on behalf of all the men that, left their son with you to raise. All the women that have sons that are feeling like you're stuck and feel like you got a sour deal, and this was a promise to you that you were given, that this man would be there for you, with you. And I will say, hey, sorry. On behalf of all the men, I apologize. On all my brothers' behalf, I am sorry for them. But I will say you have a responsibility. It wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to raise that boy with all the decency and all the love that, you would expect him to have when another woman gets a hold of him. Because I'm going to tell you something, baby. Once you got in these streets, when you're raised by a woman like that, these women is going to snatch your son up and tear his ass up. I'm a victim of that myself. And I'm just saying, I'm 47, about to be 48, and I'm just now recovering from that. Don't send your son out here trying to figure out what women are all about when he needs to be learning about that when he at home. All these women ain't princesses. They not all princesses. Some of them have an agenda. And you need to know that. because the world will tell this boy that, you know, here's a list of things that you're supposed to be, and you're giving him a list of things that he's supposed to be. But who's telling him who he is and what he should expect out of a relationship, out of a mutual, loving relationship? You know what I mean? You got to instill in your son self-worth, not just you're handsome, oh, you're so nice to your mom, oh, you're such a good boy. You know, no, son, look at me. You are a young king. You are a young prince. And if he's exhibiting those behaviors, tell him. But if he's not, be honest with him. Don't send your son out here being some damn woman abuser. If you see he's an asshole at home, he's gonna be an asshole out in the streets. Get with him, or get with the man, whether it be at church, whether it be in whatever facility that you can find, a man that you trust, that can instill in him some values. You know what I'm saying? An uncle, brother, like I said, it's out there. You don't always have to be, you know, the way you want it to be. It would be great if it was a husband, a boyfriend, a good stepfather. That would be amazing. But, you know, do your best with what you have. You know, get him in the Word, get him into knowing that Jesus is his Father. If nothing else, he has a Father in heaven. You know what I'm saying? And he can rely on him to guide him as well. But it is very important that these young men know their self-worth, because if they don't, they're going to come out here and they're going to be monsters. And it's going to be on your watch. Peace.